Okay, let's go.
There's nothing like an opening meat shot. What is going on, everybody? Hope you're having an awesome day. Welcome back to the channel. The last couple of weeks, we have changed a lot. This is just an update on that. So I'm gonna continue to make this food really quick. This is some ground bison sausage from North Star Bison. And then we're gonna sit down and talk about the title of this video because I have some stuff I have to catch you up on. So as you guys know, I have been doing an animal-based diet. I feel amazing. I feel incredible, realistically. Just doing a lot of meat still and a lot of fruit. I have put some zucchini back into my diet, but zucchini, you can tell me if you think it's animal-based or not, or if it's a vegetable. I think it's a fruit because it's got seeds, and it's a squash, so I don't really know. But let me know if you're animal-based, does that count or not? Let's go over what the title of this video is all about. As you guys know, I've been on this journey for the past, 3 weeks now, and I'm feeling incredible. But one of the things I wanted to get done was blood work. I wanted to see where I am at currently, or when I got the blood work done, so I can optimize that as I go along. Blood work looks great, but there are a few things in there that really surprised me that I have to optimize, but I thought I'd just break it down for you so you can see what's going on with me and what I'm going to be doing moving forward to improve the blood markers that are off and to ultimately optimize the ones that are always looking good. Vitamin D levels and my vitamin B12 levels are normally the two vitamins that most people talk about when they're talking about optimizing their life and having the most effect on you. That and having like enough magnesium, obviously, and enough salt and all that stuff, but we're gonna stick with vitamin D and B12 because they're very, very popular. My vitamin B12 levels are through the roof. Normally people don't have very, very high vitamin B12 levels, and mine are currently sitting at 1964. So the average on at least this blood work is 211 to 911. Mine are at 1964. I could just not be absorbing enough of it, but I'm also eating an animal-based diet and I eat a ton of organ meats, which are full of B12. So there could be a correlation there. I'm gonna do a little more research. I'm gonna try to figure it out. Vitamin D looks incredible. My doctor was actually extremely surprised because most people's vitamin D levels are really, really low, especially if you live in a place where you don't get a lot of sun. You're just gonna have really low vitamin D levels. Vitamin D is responsible for so many parts of your body. So if you have a bunch of like weird symptoms, I'm gonna throw up just like some of the symptoms of vitamin D deficiency right here. If you have some of these, go get your blood work done. I think that anybody should get their blood work done just to be safe and just to get a ballpark of where you're at right now, because you never really know. You might as well see, and if there's something off on there, fix it, catch it, and then correct it. So going into hematology, this is all of like how healthy your blood is, I would say. And honestly, my blood looks incredible. Hemoglobin, hematocrit, all of the different levels, my platelets, everything looks really, really, really good. There's nothing out of ranges. Nothing's like even like teetering. I always say, like, when you're looking at blood work, even if it says it's in like the normal range, look at what the range is, because let's say, a normal range is 4.0 to 12. If you're sitting at 4.0, you're still kind of borderlining low, So that would be my biggest tip is like, when you look at blood work, even if it says you're normal, look at the reference ranges. And then if you're too low on something, like you're a step away from being too low. Or if you're too high, you're a step away from being too high. So getting it right in that nice average is really good. But once again, not a doctor, not giving medical advice here, but really kind of like make your own decisions and work with your doctor to make sure that all of your levels are optimal or optimal high. So going into chemistry now, my blood urea nitrogen and my creatinine are high. That's basically signs that your kidneys are a little bit stressed. You need some help. It can also be a sign that you're dehydrated, which I do spend a lot of time outside in the sun. I do walk around. I do move a lot. I do sweat. I do pee a lot. So, that's just part of it. It could just be I'm dehydrated, but it is one of those markers that I don't like to just gloss over. I really want to make sure that all of my organs are functioning well. So that is one thing that I really need to work on going forward in the future. My liver enzymes are high. They're just barely over the high limit, but like I said, I would rather be in optimal ranges, not high or too low. Normally, if your liver enzymes are high, that's, lifestyle factors. That's like drinking and stuff like that. I myself, I do not drink, so I can eliminate that off the table. Gonna look into that a little bit more. One thing that popped up on here that does have me a little, not concerned, but I definitely want to look into is my IGF-1 levels are low. IGF-1 is basically responsible for growth hormone and making sure that you have higher growth hormone levels in your body. That's for, increased muscle mass, that's for bone density, that's for all of these like parts of your body that are building blocks to being better. It's good skin health, it's good hair health, it's, good muscle mass, it's like I said, bone health. So I'm gonna talk about what I'm gonna be doing for that in a little while, but let's just keep moving on. Cholesterol, looking good. I've always had slightly elevated cholesterol, slightly. And so it came up on here, slightly elevated. I'm not scared of it, really. So there's two markers on here that I really want to talk about. The one that I really, really, really need to work on is my thyroid. my thyroid is basically shot. I mean, not shot, like it's not like terrible, but it is super, super, super low. My T4, my T3, and my total T3 all super low, which is funny because my TSH completely normal. What causes your thyroid to be out of whack is a host of different things. You know, I was in a caloric deficit for a long time, trying to, you know, be ripped and in shape because my job is basically being in front of cameras. So that can weigh heavily on your thyroid. You know, environmental factors can weigh heavily on your thyroid. Alcohol abuse can weigh heavily on your thyroid. There's a lot of things that can contribute to it. The main one, though, is an autoimmune condition called Hashimoto's. And so basically what that means is your body has, you know, antibodies in it that are constantly fighting off things. And when you have Hashimoto's, your body basically attacks itself. Your antibodies basically say like, hey, I can see this thing in like, it looks inflamed, it looks like an outside invader, let's attack it, even if it's your own body tissue. So that's what autoimmune is it's antibodies attacking a different part of your body. And so I don't have that. My antibodies are basically non-existent. So it is one of these lifestyle factors that I have to figure out. I have shown signs of hypothyroidism for a long time. Cold hands, dry skin, mental fatigue, brain fog, which has improved with this diet and this shift, but it's still there. You know, weakness, like every once in a while, inability to concentrate. I do have ADHD, but this is a different story. It's one thing that I really want to tackle. Probably gonna go see an endocrinologist and just kind of see what they have to say about it. And start taking precautionary action. You know, I don't want to get on medication by any means, but if it means I have to, I will do it. I am about optimizing my body, and we live in a day and age where I don't believe you really need medication. I believe that, you know, a lot of lifestyle factors can play into a lot of these things, but sometimes you need a little help and a little support. I'm gonna go as natural as I possibly can, but if I need to go in a direction of optimizing in one way or another, I'm open to having the conversation because I want to live a long and healthy life. Next one is testosterone, estrogen, all of the other hormones. One thing that a lot of people don't know about me before I get into any of this is I used to be a hockey player, a very high-level hockey player. And back in 2013, I suffered a severe concussion and I broke my neck. You wouldn't know that now because of how I move and how I'm like, you know, interacting with people, and it's nothing but a blessing, all thanks to God. I was in and out of hospitals for 5.5 years. I lost all of my 20s up until I was about 25, 26, and long story short, the medical system failed me. You know, I was going doctor to doctor to doctor, hospital, 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 and I was just getting pumped with drugs, pumped with all of these different chemicals. If you guys want to hear this full story, let me know, and I will happily make an entire video on this entire process. And it's actually a pretty good story. But because of the injury to my brain, my pituitary gland stopped sending signals from my pituitary to my testes to make testosterone. Because that happened, my testosterone levels dropped and almost were like non-existent. Like testosterone, the reference range is 264 to 916. I was under 200. There are old men, like 90-year-olds, that have like 500 testosterone. I wasn't feeling good, to say the least. And so what we decided to do is we did everything we possibly could to bring it up naturally. Still way under the mark and couldn't do anything about it. So I had to make a hard decision, and I got on TRT, which is testosterone replacement therapy, but completely different than blasting steroids in a gym. In a gym, you're putting your numbers at hyper crazy levels and, you know, keeping them there until you cycle off, and you're doing that, you know, all the time to build a muscle. I was trying to optimize myself, and so I still try to optimize myself, and I'm still currently on TRT to this day. I take enough to get myself into a range that is healthy for a guy my age, maybe a little bit younger. I got this blood work done stupidly the day after I got my shot. So my testosterone levels are at 1026. Like I said, top of the mark on average is 916. So realistically, I'm not even that far above it on my peak day, you know? So I would say that's kind of where I want to sit constantly, maybe a little bit lower. I'm happy between 800 and 1,000. I know that's my sweet spot. My free testosterone is 25.8. The reference range is 3 to 15. So when you inject yourself with testosterone, basically what's gonna happen is you're gonna inject yourself, your testosterone levels are gonna go up, and then over the next couple of days between shots, they're gonna come down and they're gonna make a trough. And then they're gonna get a shot and it's gonna go up and it's gonna go back down, it's gonna make a trough. The reason I do 2 shots a week is because a lot of people recommend, when you first get it done, is they recommend 1 shot, and they give you a shot in the beginning, and then you go the entire week, sometimes more, and by the time you get your second shot, you're like, what the hell, man, I feel terrible. And so I've broken it up into 2 shots. I'm considering breaking it more into 3, 4 shots a week. just to keep it more steady throughout the week instead of like just blasting it, letting it crash, blasting it, letting it crash. Because so many people get that and they blast it up really crazy high. And the thing about that is once you do that, your estrogen levels go up with it because testosterone converts into estrogen and everything goes up together. And then all of a sudden your T goes back down, but your estrogen levels stay high. And so now you're a guy with high estrogen levels. And so that makes like you develop breast tissue. It makes you really emotional. All these like weird high estrogen symptoms come out of nowhere. And then you give yourself another shot, you feel great, but then your estrogen goes up again. What some guys will do is take an aromatase inhibitor. So what that does is it blocks estrogen. But if you do that and you take too much of it, you'll end up crashing your estrogen levels and your testosterone will keep going up. You want a balance in your hormones. You don't want one to be sky high and the other one to drop super low. As men, we still need estrogen, just like women need testosterone, just not as much. So, long story, long-winded thing here is my testosterone looks good because I'm on testosterone replacement therapy. Because you're on testosterone replacement therapy, your natural body does not produce testosterone anymore because you're adding an exogenous compound and your body basically goes, okay, we have enough of it, stop making it. The issue there is a lot of times you'll lose fertility, you'll have a lot of these issues. You can combat that with taking other drugs, which basically help your FSH and your LH levels go up, which are the signaling pathway between your brain. You can get on something called clomiphene, which is probably what I'm going to start as well to make sure that I can kind of get that signaling going because I do want to have kids someday. So I know at some point I'm probably gonna have to cycle off testosterone. I should probably find a girlfriend first because you need the one to, you know how that works. That's just what those look like right now. FSH and LH, I'm not even gonna tell you the numbers. They're low, they're low. So keep that in mind. All right, so now let's talk about what we're gonna do about all of this. Like I said, I'm about optimization. I'm not about pumping myself with any chemicals or anything that's, you know, like a really foreign substance to your body. I'm going to be trying peptides. And there's a lot of media press right now about peptides and like semaglutide and all these things about losing weight. I don't need to lose any weight. So semaglutide, bye. BPC 157 is one of the ones that I'm going to get on. It's the good all-around healing peptide. So if you have chronic injuries, a lot of times they have you get on this just to help you heal. And it's very, very good, like I said, for gut health. And I believe that a lot of the stuff that happens in your body starts in your gut. I don't recommend just buying peptides off the market and just going through that area. It's not safe. It's not the way to do it. I recommend going and getting somebody to monitor your blood work, really building a plan for you and helping you walk down that path so you don't do anything to damage yourself. Because the last thing you want to do is hurt yourself in the process of trying to heal yourself. That is the first one I'm going with is BPC 157. Next I'm going to be going with CJC 1295 and I'm going to mix that with ipamorelin. I believe I'm saying that right, ipamorelin. So what these are good for is basically helping your body to make its own growth hormone. Like I said, my growth hormone levels are very suppressed and I want to get those up. So what this does is you inject it into your body and it basically helps your brain create more of its natural, you know, growth hormone. It's helping your body do what your body does. It's technically injecting something into yourself, but you're injecting something into yourself that promotes something else to happen. It's not like testosterone where I am taking testosterone to get testosterone. It is, I'm taking this to send a signal to make more of this and my body is going to do its own processes to heal. I really want my body to be able to do its own thing. I really don't want to be the guy who's just injecting growth hormone. I'm not the guy to judge, I'm not the guy to criticize. If you are on any compound of any sort, that is your personal decision and you are allowed to do it. I am not gonna tell you no, I'm not gonna try to convince you otherwise. These are just my opinions for myself. I'm gonna be getting on those 2 peptides, maybe I guess technically 3 peptides, and just making sure that it goes well. Trying to optimize my body is basically where I'm starting with all of this. I want my body to be optimized because without that, everything else falls apart. The next thing I'm really focusing on is my relationships with people, and I'm really kind of diving that piece a little bit deeper. I do feel like I'm ready for another relationship. I do feel like it's time for that in my life. I don't chase it. I will never chase it. I still am never going to chase it or look for it, but I'm gonna be more open to it. So bringing a girl into my life is going to be the next like step for me, I guess you could say, in optimizing my life, because I feel like once you find a partner who is your best friend and pushes you and motivates you and drives you, everything just gets better, even in the hard times and whatever times come after that. Also just deepening friendships and relationships with people in general. I really want to just be a well-rounded individual. So I'm gonna be starting to take a lot of notes on that and really building out what I'm looking for, because I do believe that if you really want something, you have to be able to see it clearly before you even like see it in real life, so you know what you're looking for. And so I really wanna figure out what I'm looking for in a girl next. and be very, very clear, because I didn't do that in my last couple relationships, and it was very bad. Yeah, learned a lot there. But shoot me a DM, ask me any questions you have about this stuff, and I'd be happy to answer you. If you're a girl and you want to shoot your shot, shoot your shot. If you're a guy and you've got a sister and you're like, hey, Scotty's kind of dope, send her my way. Or if you're a mom and you got a daughter and she's cute and Christian and fun and she likes to golf, good starting spot. But guys, have an awesome day. Thanks for listening to me ramble. And I'm going to improve this stuff and get back to you. So until I see you again, we'll talk soon.